Welcome back to BPS Detailing. So I'm working on this 2005 Ford pickup here, and I just want to show you how scratched up it is. Hopefully this is coming out on the camera, but there's just tons of swirl marks here and scratches from automatic car washes and trees out in the woods, and just from age in general. This thing's got a couple 100,000 miles on it, so a lot of scratches here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some different pads. So I'm going to go with a heavy cutting foam pad, and then a microfiber, and then a wool. And we're going to find out which one removes the most defects on here using the same compound. So the compound I'm going to use is Sonax Cutmax. Really good stuff. So first up, we're going to go with the heavy cutting foam pad from Lake Country. It's the Force pad, and it's the gray one. So this has already been decontaminated and clayed and everything. I'm going to try to stay in this area for the same amount of time. So I think what I'll do is I'll just do 3 or 4 passes up and down. And it's all going to be on the same setting. I'm not going to do any priming or anything, just to try to keep it, be as equal as I can. So we're at speed setting 4.5. We're going to stay there for this whole time. And warning for headphone users, it's probably going to be a little loud. Starting now. So there's 4 passes with the foam pad. Next up, we've got a Meguiar's microfiber. I am going to use a little bit more product with the microfiber and the wool, just because it's necessary. You need to get the product kind of worked into the fibers, otherwise it can actually do damage. So you don't want to be dry buffing with wool or microfiber. So I'm using a bit more product, and I'm kind of working it into the fibers using the microfiber here. I use a little toothbrush to work it in. This pad's a little smaller, so I kind of had to do and the section's a little bigger, so I had to kind of do side to side. Next up, we've got the Buff and Shine Euro Wool. I'm just getting that kind of spread in on there. A little more. I feel like I definitely use more product whenever I use a microfiber or a wool, just because you really have to prime the thing and get the product worked into those fibers. Whereas with a foam pad, I find it's really not necessary. I've tried both ways. I've tried priming a foam pad, and then then you add a little more compound, and then you go after it. And then I've tried it just putting the compound or polish on the foam pad and beginning to buff, and I really can't tell a difference on any of the tests I've done back to back. I mean, it might make a difference if you got a really finicky type of paint or something, but for the most part I can't tell a difference, so I don't really prime foam pads. But alright, kind of odd. So it looks like the wool kind of separated the moisture in the compound, or it got some water out of something in this trim piece here maybe. It doesn't really feel wet around the edges, but definitely had some liquid coming out there. And then also, because it's a brand new pad, we've got lint, wool lint all over the place now. So this is a brand new pad. I just took it out of the package, and it's it even says on the package that it's either low lint or non-linting. It says non-linting. So yeah, my non-linting wool pad just got wool all over the side of this thing. So it's not a big deal. It's just when it says that on the package, you would think that it wouldn't throw lint all over the place when it says no lint. And it's also from Buff and Shine, and they make really good stuff, so it's kind of, I don't know, kind of funky. Maybe it's a difficult thing to do, maybe it's difficult to remove the lint before they send it out, but it's like how, they expect the customer to do it? I don't know. Alright, So I'm using my Geon Prep mixture here. So I do something funky. I use my Geon Prep and I mix it with a little distilled water and a little bit of alcohol just to kind of stretch it out, because I find it works pretty much the same when I dilute it with a little water and a little alcohol. It definitely works better than just straight IPA mixture because of the surfactants that they have in Prep. Prep definitely works better. So what I've found is kind of a happy medium of price and performance, and that's mixing the Prep with a little bit of distilled water and alcohol. So you know, the best, if you want to do that yourself, the best thing to do is just kind of experiment with it. You know, put a little different amounts of each thing and figure out, you know, what works the best for you as far as removing polish or prepping a surface. The forensics detailing channel guy, he actually has he did a little experiment with it where he used IPA and the Prep, or not Prep, but you know, a dedicated paint cleaning or paint prep solution, and found that the dedicated solution works better overall. He like cleaned a whiteboard with it or something, found that out. So we'll bring you in here. Alright, so this is the Lake Country heavy cutting pad with the Sonax Cut Max, and it did a fantastic job. So I didn't really get up to the edges on anything. I don't like to do that with 50/50s because what it does is it kind of creates a hard line where the tape line is, and that can be difficult. In some cases, if you do too much, it can be almost impossible to remove that hard line once you work it into there. But so looking at the center of this, I'm not sure how well it's showing up on the camera, but looking at the center of this with the Cut Max, the Lake Country Forced Heavy Cutting Pad, I would say we removed probably about 95% of the defects. It's pretty amazing, really, and it has a really glossy shine as well. On to the next one. This is the Microfiber, and with the Cut Max, I think it might have done about the same. Maybe, not quite. It didn't do quite as well. To be fair, that I'd use that microfiber pad a little more than I'd use the foam pad, but it still got us to probably 85–90%, so really good. And onto the wool. It's right up there as well. It looks the same as the microfiber. So this test was not as informative as I was hoping it would be, because all of those pads along with Sonax Cut Max just went right through it. You know, it just corrected it to a really, really high level. So, you know, I guess the main thing to take away from this is, you know, which type of pad do you enjoy using the most? And they obviously all work great on this particular paint. all paint is different. There's going to be times where you run into a lot of hazing using the microfiber and some wool, and so it'll leave hazing and micromarring. And you obviously have to use more product when you are using microfiber or wool, because you do need to prime the pad first, whereas with foam you can just put it on there. Another thing is the microfiber and wool, it's best to be able to blow them out with compressed air, whereas with a foam pad it's not really as necessary. A lot of times you can get away with just brushing it off, using something like this. This is the Rupes Bigfoot claw tool. So you can just turn the polisher on and kind of put that against the pad, and that'll clean the pad sufficiently to continue polishing. Whereas with microfiber or wool, it's way better to be able to use compressed air. So in my setup here, I've got compressed air, so that's not a big deterrent for me. These heavy duty foam pads are actually pretty difficult to clean fully. I would say even more difficult to clean than a Meguiar's microfiber pad, just because the dense foam kind of traps some of the polish or compound in it, and it can be kind of difficult to get it out of there and get it to just get it completely clean, so that you don't get dried compounds stuck inside of the pad. So, there's a lot of pluses and minuses. Another thing though is I do know that using microfiber on paint finishes where you can see the haze a little more, I guess just a little bit different type of paint finishes, using the microfiber will leave a haze behind, whereas using these heavy duty foam pads from Lake Country, it's who I generally use, they leave a pretty good finish. So I would generally lean towards using a heavy cutting foam pad if it's going to get the job done, because it means I need to use less product, and it's just an easier experience. I use less product. I don't have to blow it out with the air compressor every time. And it's just nicer. So, and then, like I said, there's less haziness or marring, so it can save you just a lot of time, for me anyway, using a foam pad. So I hope this little experiment helped you out, and thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe, comment below. Have a great day.